Greetings viewers, and welcome once again to the channel where we explore Africa's most compelling political stories, historical reflections, and untold truths that shape our continent's identity. If you haven't already, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you're always first to catch our latest stories, in-depth analyses, and powerful narratives. Today, we're diving into a somber but critical topic: African presidents who died in exile or abroad, and whose burials became sources of dispute, national division, or international tension. These are stories where power, legacy, and politics collide even in death, revealing how unresolved conflicts follow leaders beyond their final breath. Throughout modern African history, several leaders, once the most powerful men in their nations, have found themselves dying far from the lands they once ruled. Often, these exiles were not just physical displacements but emotional, political, and ideological separations, and when the time came to bury these men, their deaths stirred as much controversy as their lives. Let's begin with Mobutu Sese Seko of Zaire, now the Democratic Republic of Congo. Once a towering figure in African politics and a Cold War ally of the West, Mobutu ruled for over 3 decades with an iron fist. But after being overthrown by Laurent Desire Kabila in 1997, Mobutu fled into exile and died the same year in Morocco. His body was buried in Rabat, and decades later, there are still calls in DRC to repatriate his remains. The debate isn't just about logistics, it's about legacy, forgiveness, and whether his memory deserves a place on Congolese soil. Another notable case is that of Haile Selassie, the last emperor of Ethiopia. Though he died under mysterious circumstances in 1975 after being deposed, his body was not buried with honor until 2000, a full 25 years later. Hidden away during Ethiopia's revolutionary upheaval, his remains were secretly interred under a toilet, only to be exhumed and reburied with ceremony decades later. His burial sparked national reflection. Was he a symbol of divine kingship and Ethiopian pride, or a relic of imperial oppression? Then there's Milton Obote of Uganda. Twice president and twice ousted, Obote died in exile in South Africa in 2005. When his body was returned to Uganda for burial, it ignited political disputes, with many still blaming him for civil conflict and dictatorial tendencies. Yet, for his supporters, he remained a national hero. Even in death, Obote was polarizing, his funeral a reflection of a nation still divided over his rule. Kwame Nkrumah, Ghana's founding father, also faced posthumous controversy. After being overthrown in a coup, Nkrumah died in exile in Romania in 1972. Though he was eventually reburied in Ghana, the process was marred by political hesitation and years of delay. His original burial site in Krofel remains sacred to many, but others see his legacy as complicated, a visionary Pan-Africanist, yet criticized for autocratic leanings. Let's not forget Jean Bedel Bokassa of the Central African Republic, who once declared himself emperor. After being overthrown, he fled and died in France in 1996. His remains were returned to CAR under a veil of controversy, and his rehabilitation remains an uncomfortable topic for many in his homeland. Most recently, the case of Zambia's former president Edgar Lungu has sparked debate, as he was buried in South Africa after internal family disputes and unclear state protocols. While some view it as a necessary move amid difficult political conditions, others see it as a failure of leadership and national dignity. His burial abroad, though not exactly exile, reignites the debate about how African nations treat their former leaders, especially those who leave office under a cloud of tension. These stories highlight a recurring pattern across the continent: the inability or unwillingness of some states to come to terms with their leaders' complex legacies. Whether due to exile, fear of unrest, or unresolved grudges, the failure to properly bury a former head of state often reflects deeper wounds in the national psyche. Thank you for staying with us as we unpacked these powerful and emotional narratives. These are not just tales of death. They are reflections of Africa's struggle with leadership, reconciliation, and historical truth. If this story touched you, sparked your thoughts, or made you see the continent's past in a new light, please like the video, drop your opinions in the comments below, and most importantly, subscribe to the channel for more deep dives and groundbreaking content. Until next time, stay informed, stay engaged, and stay proud of our African journey.